morning. Thank you very much for joining us. This is Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I'm Ruth Aguela. Let's begin with the latest news from Abuja, where we hear that Dr. Akinwumi Adesina has been sworn in as president of the African Development Bank. Adesina took the oath of office for a second term as AFDB president. He was sworn in this Tuesday at the AFDB headquarters in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire, at an event that was broadcast virtually. He was re-elected on Thursday, August 27, during the annual meetings of the AFDB. Adesina is the first president to be elected by 100% of votes by regional and non-regional members of the bank. And back home for us on agriculture, giving inputs to farmers in Nigeria will encourage higher productivity for food security and sufficiency. Well, in view of this, the Akwa Ibom state government is soliciting for inclusion of the state as beneficiary of agricultural development programs of the federal government. Udwak Etem reports that this came to the fore when the National Agricultural Extension and Research License Services visited the state during its two-day annual survey.
Agricultural Performance Survey is a yearly routine designed to assess the agricultural performance of the current season in Nigeria, making possible production forecasts based on field observations. Receiving the team from the National Agricultural Extension and Research Liaison Services, Commissioner for Agriculture, Gloria Dates, urged the Federal Ministry of Agriculture to always consider farmers in Akwa Ibom State in its programs, assuring that the beneficiaries will be monitored for effective utilization.
I just want to appeal, let us see output, good results from the state. The federal ministry should also consider Akwa Ibom State.
The leader of the team disclosed that the exercise will give opportunity for each state of the nation to see other states' performance.
The survey is not localized to Akwa Ibom or Cross River State. It's the whole of the country that the work is ongoing.
The team was in Akwa Ibom State on a two-day agricultural development survey to interact with farmers to know their constraints and prospects. In Uyo, Udwak Etam, NTA News.
As the December 2020 expiration date for the current social protection policy of the federal government draws close, plans are underway to develop a new policy plan that will run between 2021 and 2025. Well, this was disclosed by the Minister of State, Budget and National Planning, Clem Agba, at a high-level dialogue on strengthening institutional framework for social protection in Nigeria. Let's get more details from Chimobi Walter and Naji.
The United Nations 2030 agenda acknowledges that eradicating poverty in all its forms and dimensions, including extreme poverty, is the greatest global challenge and an indispensable requirement for sustainable development. Currently, there is over 1 million people living below poverty line in Nigeria as a result of the global pandemic. It is against this backdrop that a high-level dialogue is organized to strengthen institutional framework for social protection and effective operationalization of the policy for sustainable and equitable development in Nigeria.
My understanding is that social protection is a concurrent responsibility between federal government and the states. So our processes and policies must be crystal clear on the accountabilities between the two levels of governance. In addition, we must make it very clear the roles and responsibilities of the various MDAs.
I'm therefore pleased to note that the agenda of the Social Protection Policy Dialogue helps us build the foundation for the achievement of this vision in a more systematic, sustainable, and collective manner.
The Minister of State Budget and National Planning, Clem Agba, noted that all the social safety nets of the federal government aimed at bringing out 100 million Nigerians from poverty in 10 years has been vital to poverty eradication in the country, but insists that government will not relent in its effort to build a strong middle class in the country.
With the Federal Ministry of Health anchoring the National Health Insurance Scheme, and other MDAs also implementing social protection programs, that are relevant to their various mandates. With this laudable initiative, the government of Nigeria is on the right trajectory to use social protection for poverty alleviation, economic growth, and sustainable development.
The high-level dialogue is organized in conjunction with international development partners. In Abuja, Chimubi Walter Naji, NTA News.
All right, let's talk flooding, particularly with focus in the FCT and going by the Nigeria Hydrological Services predictions for the Federal Capital Territory this rainy season. And we know with the rapid urbanization of the city coupled with the people's negative attitude towards the environment is no doubt the cause of constant flooding leading to destruction of lives and property. And just last week, very sad, another death was recorded from flood in the FCT. And joining me now in the studio to shed more light on this is the Director General, FCT Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, Mr. Abbas Idris. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
All right, now, I don't know how to start this, but despite the whole flood alert, you know, in the FCT, we have seen a number of deaths recorded and, you know, property being lost. What would you say is the problem of this? Because every year we keep seeing the same scenario.
Well, yes. You know, due to climate change, we can expect a torrential rainfall, and the flooding in the FCT has to do with a flash flooding. And flash flooding, it can just beep up at any point in time, and that is why it is one of the most dangerous flooding that we witness in the whole world. It gives it comes rapidly and then it's swept away very strongly.
Yes.
And so that is why we embark on very, very comprehensive enlightenment program to enlighten the public. And with the kind of FCT that we have that is fast developing,
yes,
you see that a lot of lands have been taken over, have been built up, so there is no population of water. And even within your homes, you will find out that you have to tile it, you have to put a lot of things. So once the water drops, it will now have to find its way. And the most important challenge that we are having is that people have blocked the ways, yes, that the water can pass.
By building on flood-prone areas.
By building on flood-prone areas, yeah, blocking the waterways, and then a lot of things. And then there is this attitude that people don't comply to early warning problem, because most of the people that died is as a result of a refusal to allow the water to pass away. Yeah. They will just try to drive in. And we keep consistently saying that the strength of water, no matter what, a 2-meter water can take away SUV. So not to talk of a small, light 1.6 cc vehicle. So we advise that people should wait. Flash flooding can come, and it can come not necessarily because there is rainfall in that particular city. It can develop from somewhere and run through you. So we just have to be very extra careful and ensure that we comply to the early warnings.
And part of being careful, I know strategies are already in place to, yes, avert some of these disasters.
Yes.
You want to tell us about it? Because this is 1st September, yes, the rains will still come.
Yes, and we are expecting more flooding in this month. And all hands are on deck. All the stakeholders are working together. We are working with NEMA strongly. We are working with other stakeholders within the FCT to ensure that all things that can be done humanly possible to avoid another death in the FCT is being done. And we ensure that we aggravate our own campaign towards the public to ensure that they really comply with the situation. And unfortunately, the situation in the FCT is that the elites are the one dying. Those who can really assimilate and understand the message and transmit it to the locals are the one dying. And the locals are really adapting to our situation. They comply with our campaigns. We show them videos. They see it vividly. And then they comply with us too.
And they agree
to move.
Okay.
But you find out that when you say the elites, when you close to the work, from the work, don't walk, don't drive when it is raining.
You know, the situation of the man that died at Lugbe, was it last week or so?
Yes.
He wasn't even in a vehicle.
He wasn't. He parked his vehicle.
Okay.
He parked his vehicle and walked into the water. And there were 4. The 3 had gone back, but he refused to abide by the simple instructions.
But you know, it's very sad. It's not a time to put blame for what has already happened. But this is something we see happening every year.
Yes.
Will there be a lasting solution to outwit this recurring disaster?
The lasting solution is attitudinal change.
Okay.
We have to change our attitude. We have to really abide by the early warning systems, because we don't know. You cannot say because it is your own route that you are conversant with the road, anything can happen.
Yes.
Anything can happen. So just wait for some few minutes, the water will go away and then you can walk. If you are coming from home and it rains, please hold on until the water passes before you can drive in. If when you close that you are going home, please wait. Just few minutes, at most 1 hour, it will go.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abbas Idris. He's the DG FEMA. Thank you for your contributions and keep up the good work.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, and let's head to Kaduna now. We know of the disaster there. Not something pleasant, actually. We're talking about the bridge at Rugachukun. But let's join Salamatu from our Kaduna Network Center. She has some reports for us from that end.
Thank you, Ruth. Remedial work is yet to commence on Rugachukun Bridge along the Kaduna-Zaria Highway 3 days after the damage on a portion of it. Abdullahi Muhammad reports that concerns are mounting over the pressure on the alternative bridge.
The damaged part of the bridge has expanded, with the risk of the rest of debris plunging further. Pedestrians have found this development interesting, defying all the dangerous signs and marks.
With the damaged bridge sealed off, its alternative is estimated to be bearing the pressure of about 24,000 vehicles daily. The rainfall has continued to increase, and so the volume of water around the bridge, which is now burrowing into the soil that is holding that bridge. Nobody knows what will happen next.
The bridge is now the only link to about 8 states in northern Nigeria, and by 6 p.m., when the highway is open to articulated vehicles, traffic increases, leading to gridlock, with some of them standing still on the bridge exerting pressure. The Controller, Federal Ministry of Works in Kaduna, says there is no cause to worry.
If you look at the route from Kaduna to Zaria, we have different work zones. We have diversions. So in the course of this work, at a point, we will still make that diversion and vehicles will pass. As long as they are not standing, they are passing by. It's sort of like an influence route, crossing across. So there's no cause for alarm.
No cause for alarm, he says, but motorists say it is hectic, especially when an articulated vehicle breaks down on the only lane.
It is not easy because as you are seeing, vehicles are following the same lane.
The earlier they do something about it, the better.
For now, the Federal Road Safety Corps is fully in charge and the traffic is flowing slowly and surely. In Kaduna, Abdullahi Muhammad, NTA News.
With me in the studio to dwell more on that report is our correspondent, Abdullahi Muhammad. Abdullahi, in addition to what you've captured in that report, what other things do we need to know on your on-spot assessment?
Thank you very much, Salamatu. Exactly what I want to add to what I have captured is the fact that the bridge itself, Salamatu, though it's 2-lane, was a very narrow bridge, and now it is left for the pedestrian, people with bikes, bicycle, and vehicles. So it is very dangerous. When you get there, you see people trying to maneuver to pass through. Sometimes they will have to wait until they look the other side and their front and their back to ensure that there's no oncoming vehicle before they'll pass. Because that's the only way in and out of Kaduna, as far as taking any kind of a vehicle or bike or even pedestrian. And you know that there are so many communities up there after NTA and the rest of the thing. So that's exactly what
now
is
the controller told us that there is no cause for alarm. How soon do we expect work to commence?
Well, even yesterday when we got to that place, the controller told us that he was going to see the contractor. In fact, he said he has written a letter. And today I met him in the office. On getting there, I saw him on phone talking to the contractor. They were assuring him that they will be, at the place to do some assessment. Then from there, in a couple of days, they will be on ground to start the remedial work.
Okay, your advice to motorists that ply the road?
Well, for motorists, please keep to your left as you are approaching the bridge. Be very careful. Go slow. Keep to your left. That's the advice.
All right, thank you, Abdullahi, for giving us your time.
Many thanks. Salamat.
Participants of the Junior Officers Course 7 at the Nigerian Customs Service Training and Doctrine Command, Abuja, have advocated more synergy among security operatives in the ongoing national border drill towards the realization of its objectives. The participants, who were on study tour to Sector 4 Command of the National Border Drill, covering Northwest with headquarters in Katsina, also acknowledged the successes being recorded in the fight against smuggling and proliferation of arms in Nigeria. Shehu Adamu reports.
The National Border Drill Operation, which started a year ago, is being coordinated by the Office of the National Security Advisor, with the Nigeria Customs Service as the lead agency to ensure strict compliance of the federal government directive banning importation through the nation land borders. Though the border closure was meant to be on temporary basis to stimulate the nation's economy and check the proliferation of arms and ammunition into the country, however, with the outbreak of the global pandemic of coronavirus, Nigeria's land borders remain closed from all kinds of movements.
We are now better informed on, especially in the area of collaborating with our sister agency to enhance national security.
We are now better informed. So as we are going back, what we have learned now, we are going to put it into better use.
Sector 4 coordinator of the National Border Drill covering Northwest, Comptroller Aliyu Alaji Mohammed, said successes are being recorded in the operation due to the cooperation, collaboration and coordination among operatives under the drill.
Collaboration with sister agency being the first time, if we continue with it, Nigeria is going to achieve a lot of things.
The level of synergy, collaboration, cooperation, and peaceful coexistence that is symbolized here is unprecedented.
Representatives of other security agencies in the drill took turn to address the course participants, advising them to make good use of the information gathered in their studies. The participant had an interactive session with representatives of Jibia communities, during which all stakeholders resolved to contribute in the success of the exercise. In Katsina, Shehu Adamu, NTA News.
That is it from here. Nationwide continues with Root in Abuja after the break.
Thanks for staying tuned. The 4 Special Forces Command in Doma of Nasarawa State have handed over 778 women and children captured recently by terrorists to representatives of governments of the affected states. That is Niger, Kano, Adamawa, Katsina, Sokoto, Kebbi, Kogi, Kaduna, Bauchi, Borno, Zamfara, Nasarawa, Yobe and the FCT.
Command in a joint operations dispersed the camps of the terrorists in Nasarawa West Senatorial Zone.
Have been using these villages as camp to list mayhem or victims.
That those of them on the run, so please come out, surrender their arms.
Well, we have accepted to take them to another state, and also, if identified, take them to their various local government with their, to integrate them with their family.
More on security, troops of Operation Sahel Sanity have arrested 12 and killed 2 bandits in Zamfara and Katsina states. A statement by the Acting Director, Defense Media Operations, Brigadier General Bernard Oyoko, indicates that 10 kidnapped victims were also rescued by the troops, whose operations span through the northwest. Similarly, the Chief of the Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, has commended troops of the Nigerian Army for the destruction of Darussalam Boko Haram terrorist camps in Kogi and Nasarawa states. Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai gave the commendation in a statement by the Acting Director, Army Public Relations, Colonel Sagir Musa. The troops of the Nigerian Army Special Forces Command, Doma, Nasarawa State, raided the identified camps of the terrorist group, neutralized scores and rescued over 700 of their family members and abductees. And there is a pat on the back from the Center for Social Justice, Equity and Transparency to the Nigerian Army's Operation Sahel Sanity for successes recorded in countering bandits and restoring peace in the Northwest. The group made this known in its quarterly interim report on the war against banditry and other forms of criminalities after an assessment tour of the region. Let's hear more from Francis Pham.
In every fight, there is a fight back. So, the emergence of banditry was matched with the launch of Operation Sahel Sanity by the Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai-led army in July 2020. In less than 2 months, this military tactics attracts the warm embrace of the Center for Social Justice, Equity and Transparency after a field check on the exploits in the theater of banditry in the Northwest.
The operations have led to the rescue of kidnapped victims, recovery of rustled cows, the arrest of suspected armed bandits, arrest of bandits, informants, and collaborators. The Center for Social Justice, Equity and Transparency, CSJET, also gathered from cross-sections of people drawn from various communities in the affected states that there has indeed been a new lease of life for them since the coming on board of Operation Sahel Sanity.
A big moral booster for the fighting troops and invitation for more support to the army through the provision of intelligence by the civil populace because it is a guerrilla warfare. In Abuja, Francis Pham, NTA News.
In another development, the Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, has inaugurated a 10-by-1 non-commissioned accommodation in the Quick Response Unit of the force in Agatu local government area, Benue State, as part of strategies to boost national security. Charles Abba reports.
The Quick Response Unit in Agatu local government area of Benue State was established in 2018 due to criminal activities with highly trained, equipped personnel to tackle the threats. The Chief of the Air Staff represented said the newly constructed accommodation is aimed at creating conducive environment. He reassured the officers that the NAF headquarters will continue to support them with helicopter gunships and other air assets for effective security services.
Nigerian Force remains committed and will continue to discharge its constitutional responsibility of defending territorial integrity of Nigeria while ensuring respect for human rights. Thank you for always staying awake while we civilians and most especially Agatu people go to sleep with our eyes closed.
They expressed optimism that this commitment will further enhance the reduction of security threats in Benue State. From Agatu, Charles Abba, NTA News.
And in Borno State, the state government has inaugurated a high-powered committee for resettlement of Baga community in Kukawa local government area. The 22-member committee inaugurated by Governor Babagana Umar Zulum followed communication with the military high command, seeking approval to resettle the over 3 years displaced communities. Mohammed Goni reports.
The inauguration of the committee followed Governor Babagana Umar's visits to communities in Kukawa local government area, including Baga, to fast-track relocation of IDPs from the area taking refuge in Monguno and elsewhere, and the subsequent letter written to the Army High Command seeking approval for resettlement of the communities, which was granted. Governor Babagana Umar thanked the military High Command, including the Service Chief, the Inspector General of Police, Director General of DSS, among others, for their support in that regard, and further reassure readiness of the Borno State government to partner with all the security establishments in Borno to realize the objective of returning the IDPs of Baga extraction home on 26 October 2020.
The Chief of Army Staff had replied that it is possible for the government of Borno State to relocate its people to Baga on 26th of September.
The governor further charged the committee to work assiduously to ensure realization of the target date of resettlement of Baga community. Chairman of the committee, Barrister Kakasha Ulan, thanked the governor for finding them worthy for the job and assured to live up to expectation. The committee's terms of reference include to commence immediate reconstruction and resettlement of Baga, identifying IDPs from the targeted communities for resettlement, as well as to take any other step that will ensure safe return of the communities, among others. In Maiduguri, Mohamed Goni, NTA News.
And Lagos is our next stop, and Dotun Ogunyemi will guide us. Dotun?
Thank you, Ruth. Residents of Lagos State will begin to have more access to qualitative and effective emergency healthcare service delivery as the Minister of State for Health, Senator Adeleke Mamora, inaugurates General Outpatients Clinic, Accidents and Emergencies Building Complex at the Federal Medical Center, Ebutemeta, Lagos. Hinginu John Adams reports.
The two-story building is a state-of-the-art medical facility. The strategically located General Outpatient Clinic, Accident and Emergency Building Complex is equipped with sophisticated and up-to-date medical equipment that can measure up to international standard. The clinical services such as registration, consultation, prescription, patient's note, and even payment system are all automated. The Minister of State for Health commended the hospital management for putting the building together in a short period in spite of the ravaging COVID-19 pandemic.
We continue to tell our people that as individuals, the primary responsibility for your health lies with you. So it's in your own interest to protect your health, because that is the greatest asset available to you.
The chairman, Board of Management, Federal Medical Center, Ebutemeta, Ishola Balogun, who is at the forefront of digital revolution in the health sector, assured residents that the facility will reduce mortality rate in the state.
The equipment that infrastructure is one of the state art of equipment. The first ever, I would say, in Nigeria, even Africa. So I will say that we have the best equipment here, and I'm sure, inshallah, it will be to the benefit of all Nigerians.
The hospital management commended President Muhammadu Buhari for his support and urged Nigerians to take ownership of the facility. In Lagos, Hingino John Adams, NTA News.
The weather is becoming more and more inconsistent, confusing most ordinary Nigerians. In Lagos State, for example, many who experienced rainfall in August 2019 expected same weather events to play out this year. But no, instead, the clouds took a pause, maintaining the August break tradition. Again, Ingenu John Adams in this report sheds more light on irregular rain pattern in Lagos.
From June, series of rainfall characterized by challenges of flash floods linger till November, with respite during the August break, a short period that lasts 2 to 3 weeks. In recent years, however, the weather has not exactly followed this pattern. It has been topsy-turvy and unpredictable, particularly for the layman.
This year the rain has not fallen too much. It's so surprising. Everybody knows that if there is no rain, there is going to be a scarcity of food because the farm products will not germinate at all.
As if the confusing rainfall pattern is not enough, there have also been instances when intense rains spring surprises in January, giving the harmattan a backseat. Is there an explanation for this?
This is largely attributed to a phenomenon that is known as climate variability. Climate variability is caused by several reasons, and one of those reasons is the scenario of the orbit of the sun, of the earth around the sun, and it also can be affected by the changes in atmospheric chemistry.
Human activities, scientists insist, greatly affect the climate system, with many nations already having records of persistent change in weather pattern over a period of time. Experts say there is need for strategic planning and adaptation measures to ensure the effect of inconsistent rain pattern does not affect lives and livelihoods in Lagos and other parts of the nation. In Lagos, Hingino John Adams, NTA News.
And that's it from here. It's back to Ruth in Abuja for the continuation of Nationwide.
Thank you, Datun. Right, let's take you to 31st of August, which we celebrated every year as observed rather as African Traditional Medicine Day. And this year's focus is on the progress made in the past 20 years towards raising the awareness of traditional medicine in the health system, with special attention on COVID-19. And joining me in the studio now to speak more on African Traditional Medicine Day is the Deputy Director of Traditional Complementary and Alternative Medicine, Department of Ministry of Health, Mr. Titus Tile. Pharmacist, I beg your pardon.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for...
Now, give us an insight into the significance of the day.
Well, traditional medicine, as you know, is the oldest system of medicine. You know, there are 3 systems of medicine which are recognized by the WHO: the orthodox medicine, traditional medicine, and alternative and complementary medicine. Traditional medicine is the oldest. Unfortunately, the orthodox has been popular more than traditional medicine. So in 2001, the African Union Heads of State, they met in Abuja here and declared that 31st of August of every year should be celebrated as African Traditional Medicine Day. This is to promote this practice, and that the Ministry of Health has been observing since that time, and now this is 2020, this is the end of the second decade, and that's why we are still celebrating today as African Traditional Medicine Day. The theme for this year, as given by WHO, is 2 decades of African traditional medicine, what progress made in countries. So that is what we are celebrating.
Have you made progress?
Serious progress. Okay. If you listen to the briefing of the Honourable Minister of State for Health today, it happened in the ministry this morning, you will see that a lot of things have been achieved and they were enumerated.
Okay. Now, what would you say is the contribution of this organization towards tackling COVID-19? That's something we're all battling with.
Okay. This COVID-19, when you look at the symptoms of COVID-19, let me say that for now, there is no cure yet for COVID-19. So what the approach has been to manage the symptoms and then try some antiviral drugs. So many of them are at the trial stage. So right now, managing the symptoms, which include fever, cough, tiredness, ache, sore throat, diarrhea, conjunctivitis, headache, loss of taste and smell, rash on skin, and the rest. You will know that we have a lot of medicinal plants that can take care of these symptoms. Even in your kitchen, you can agree with me that we have medicinal plants that can take care of this. Some of them are used daily in our kitchen as foods.
Well, have they been effectively used to tackle the pandemic, the COVID-19, the virus I'm talking about?
Of course, they have been used. You know, we have a lot of submissions in the ministry, you know, from traditional medicine practitioners, and they claim they have been using them and it's working for them. And what the ministry is doing is to collect them, and then we hand them over to our regulatory agencies like NAFDAC and NIPRID for analysis.
Okay.
Yeah, so that is what the ministry is doing. You know, they are working, but they have to be subjected to scientific evaluation, you know, so that it can be accepted worldwide.
Yes, okay. Yeah, so. And following that success you're talking about, in what ways can this organization be strengthened in terms of, you know, being at best practices with its counterparts, international best practices, if we're looking at branding of products and standardization?
Well, that is what the ministry is trying to do now. You know, before, there was no Department of Traditional Medicine.
Okay.
It was just 2018 that we had a department. It has been in progress, but it's gradual. And I think we are getting to the peak of it. Things are picked up now seriously, and in Nigeria, if you know Nigeria very well, they will not peak, but once it peaks, it will go very fast. And I foresee that.
Okay, what's your message finally to Nigerians on acceptance of traditional
my
medicine?
message is that COVID-19 has opened our eyes. We have everything. We have more than 8,000 species of medicinal plants in this country. Now, COVID-19 has come. We saw that Madagascar brought out a product which they use for their people. And therefore, I want to tell Nigerians that we should accept traditional medicine, not just for health benefits, because of economic benefits as well. Because we have these plants, if they are cultivated, there's a value chain for this. So it will take many people out of job. It will take many people that are out of job to give job and then generate revenue for many Nigerians.
All right, thank you very much, pharmacist Titus Tile. No doubt, traditional medicine is part of our heritage. We can't run away from it.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We really thank NTA for helping us to promote this traditional medicine. You have been helping a lot, and I appreciate you for that. Thank you.
We appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be back in a bit. All right, let's bring you an update on COVID-19. Nigeria Center for Disease Control has confirmed 143 new cases of COVID-19 in 18 states of the Federation. A breakdown of the figures shows that Plateau State still has the highest confirmed cases of 35, followed by Kaduna State with 21. Lagos has 19 cases, FCT 13, Ebonyi 9, Adamawa, Enugu and Katsina states have 7 new cases each. Others are Edo with 6, Kwara 5, Osun 3, Anambra, Kano, Niger and Ogun states have 2 new cases each, while Benue, Borno and Sokoto states have 1 case each. So far, Nigeria has 54,008 confirmed cases of COVID-19, out of which 41,638 patients were discharged, while 1,013 have died of the virus so far. And still on COVID, the COVID-19 response team Cross River State is leaving nothing to chance in its pursuit to reach all communities in the state to prevent the spread of the pandemic. Well, the team was at Odukbani local government area, where community stakeholders and leaders are being encouraged to cooperate with local government COVID-19 task force team in sensitization and awareness creation, sample collection, active case search, as well as contact tracing. Paul Abel tells us more.
Setting up of local government task force teams in all the 18 local government areas of Cross River State is to keep community transmission of COVID-19 in the state at its minimal level, while the people adhere to sensitization messages and COVID-19 prevention guidelines. Achieving these also demands the response team interfacing with community stakeholders, including religious leaders, traditional rulers, civil society organizations, youth and opinion leaders to drive home the message to individuals in their various communities.
For Cross River State, the goal is to see that we can establish at least 1 sample collection site in all our local government areas, where we can pick in as many samples as possible, get them tested, and also do follow-up, complete community surveillance. And indeed, we also want to strengthen the risk communication pillar in the various local government areas.
Able to make sure that our people are truly aware that COVID-19 is real, and so they will keep to whatever being instructed.
There was sensitization campaigns at markets, distribution of face masks and sanitizers to the people. From Odukbani local government area of Cross River State, Paul Abel, NTA News.
And next for us is Ibadan as we join Kemi. She has the next set of reports for us. Kemi.
Thank you, Ruth, and welcome to Ibadan. The federal government has intensified its drive towards empowering the less privileged through a training program on information, communication technology, and phone repairs. The training took place in Ogbomoso town. Rofia Animashan Badmos has more.
The training, organized by the National Information Technological Development Agency, NITDA, was to empower not less than 200 youth in Oyo State on digital economy and mobile phone repair business. It was also aimed at strengthening technical and scientific competencies of Nigerian artisans. The facilitator of the training urged the youth to take advantage of every opportunity from the federal government to enhance their skills and acquire more knowledge.
If you remember, we started with 50. From 50, we moved to 100. Now we are about 170. You can see it's because the feedback is high.
Some of the beneficiaries expressed their gratitude for the opportunity, which they claimed has strengthened their economic and social capabilities.
Make it useful for them, to help themselves, better their life, as well as their society and the country at large.
Anybody that doesn't have any knowledge about the computer training will be able to cope and understand, to know how to operate and what the computer and the rudiments that entail it.
Highlight of the training was distribution of iPad, training manual, work tools, branded shirts and face caps, and sanitizer and face mask. In Ibadan, Rofia Animashan Badmos, NTA News.
Medical experts say that vagaries of the weather is oftentimes significant in the health indices and general well-being of the elderly and the very young. This therefore calls for caution and lifestyle changes in the face of unfavorable weather. In this report, Omokende Igbari examines some effects of the weather on children and the elderly. Her report is here presented.
It is no longer news that the medical attention globally has shifted to addressing the COVID-19 ravaging the world. The periodic change of weather is, however, another source of concern in some quarters. For instance, the current weather condition, which is somewhat unpredictable, may present with adverse effects on the elderly and the very young children. Normal body temperature, medical experts say, varies from person to person throughout the day. However, normal body temperature is higher in preschool children aged between 18 and 24 months.
So for children, we want to keep them warm at this time because they are usually prone to pneumonia during this period. We want to give them warm food, we want to give them warm clothing. For the elderly, at this period, they usually have extreme bone pains. Those with arthritis before, it tends to worsen. Those that didn't have before, they have aches and pains. Make sure their clothing is also thick enough, warm enough for them to be able to withstand.
Experts say this may not necessarily indicate that the present weather condition is the cause of high temperature, hence the need to seek medical advice in good time.
I keep myself warm. I bath with warm water. I eat regularly. My children, they look after me and the grandchildren.
My children do kata, cough. I wear cardigan for her.
I wear 3 clothes and a big cover cloth.
As the weather condition may not be inseparable or determined, experts are of the opinion that dealing with effects on children and the aged must be monitored keenly to avoid adverse effects.
That does it from here. Ruth, it's back to you.
Thanks, Kemi. The Independent National Electoral Commission is optimistic that with the recent disposition of key players in the Edo governorship election, the process will be smooth. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu stated this while swearing in Tella Adeniran as resident electoral commissioner for Ekiti State.
We have expressed our anxiety about the conduct of particularly political actors, the candidates, their supporters, and it is for that reason that I went to Benin and spent 3 days, and we visited important stakeholders, including His Royal Majesty the Oba of Benin. So we are concerned, but we are leaving no stone unturned in speaking to the political actors, to respected voices like the Oba of Benin, as well as the security agencies to ensure hitch-free elections.
The INEC chairman also reacted to an allegation by the APC in Edo State, accusing the resident electoral commissioner for Akwa Ibom State, Mike Igini, as working for the PDP.
The REC himself responded, and in my discussion with him yesterday, he also has asked his lawyers to initiate legal action against the person who made the statement. But let me also say this, that we stand by our resident electoral commissioners. We know the kind of job we are doing on the eve of elections. You know, all manner of people come with all manner of accusations to slander officials of the commission, essentially in order to divert our attention from the onerous task of conducting elections in Nigeria. We won't be distracted. We know all these shenanigans. People have been doing this for a long time. It won't distract us from doing what is right.
INEC chairman there. The National Human Rights Commission synergizes with the Association of Nigerian Authors in the fight and promotion of fundamental human rights. Executive Secretary of the Commission, Tony Ojukwu, gave the accession when he received the leadership of the Association Nigerian Authors in Abuja. Omenka Amarachukwu reports.
This is a meeting of two executives who have come together to promote and propagate the human rights of Nigerians through advocacy and campaign. Though meeting for the first time, they are here to design a framework that will help in the fight against abuse of human rights in Nigeria.
So we have an enormous task in our hands to turn the narrative and make them realize the rights they have. It is when they realize they have rights that they can demand for it, that they can seek for assistance, they can seek for collaboration. If you don't know your rights, there is a limit to what you can do. Because you won't even know it has been violated, not to talk of seeking for assistance for a remedy.
We come from our own angle of creativity, to be able to write stories and creative works that can impact on the need for people to appreciate what their rights are.
Issues relating to rape and other gender-based violence took a center stage at the meeting. In Abuja, Omenka Amarachukwu, NTA News.
Let's look at other issues. With the prevalence of flooding and other crises leading to much humanitarian issues in the country, this cannot be said to be the best of time for the ministry in charge, headed by Sadia Umar Farouk. An impromptu meeting held this Tuesday in the office of the Vice President to sought for greater cooperation and support from all tiers of government, as well as the people in addressing these humanitarian concerns, especially in the Northeast.
We're here specifically to meet on the humanitarian and security situation in the Northeast. And we held the meeting successfully and it's fruitful. And we're moving ahead. Food and other aids to reach the badly affected areas, mostly the salvage areas in the Northeast. And our militaries have been doing wonderfully well these days, and the communities are opening up.
This is one of such cooperations that we are having. We are collaborating and we are working together to see that we achieve the same common objective of addressing the humanitarian issues in the northeastern part of this country, as well as other parts of the country.
State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports that Vice President Professor Yemi Oshibajo chaired the closed-door meeting attended by some governors, ministers, the National Security Advisor and the Director General of Customs, among others. Let's pause for a message. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned. Thank you for staying with us. Let's talk sports. Nigeria targets control of military spots on the continent. Let's get the details with Tamara Ibiwe.
Nigeria will contend with 3 other African countries, including Algeria, Guinea and Kenya, for the position of president of the Organization of Military Sports in Africa. Briefing journalists in Abuja, Brigadier General Mekano Abdullahi of the Defense Headquarters said his focus is to put Nigeria on the world map by promoting sportsmen and women in the military.
I will also ensure that our continent is adequately represented in all season sporting events in the world and General Assembly. And it will also give me the opportunity to promote sports and encourage good sporting relationship among the 51 African member countries.
The virtual election is slated for the 7th of October 2020. Nigeria's D-Tiger star player Stanley Okoye says the team must target a podium finish at the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games to erase the memories of underperformance at FIBA 2019 in China. With D-Tigers currently ranked 23rd in the world and #1 in Africa, Okoye believes that a second ever Afrobasket triumph is a distinct possibility for Nigeria. In tennis, world #1 Novak Djokovic is in firm pursuit of an 18th Grand Slam title after a 6-1, 6-4, 6-1 straight set win over Damir Jumo in the US Open first round. The likes of Alexander Zverev, Stefano Tsitsipas and Cameron Norrie progressed to second round after their wins on day one. In the women's competition, Naomi Osaka overcame a scare to beat Misaki Doi in 3 sets, 6-2, 5-7, 6-2, while American teenager Coco Gauff's hopes of another Grand Slam run ended in a 6-3, 5-7, 6-4 defeat to Anastasia Sevastova. Tamara Ebiwe, NTA News.
All right, we're done with Nationwide today. Thank you very much for your company. I'm Ruth Aguela. Bye.